Howdy, friends. Welcome to episode 6. So, we have completely wrapped up the rear suspension. We've got all the horsepower items done. I really feel like we're starting to get into the final stretches, which means that we're into the last section, which is our front suspension. So, if you're coming from episode 5, then hopefully you're pretty familiar with the chart. If not, I will flash it right here just so you can see what is left to get done. We have completed a ton, right? And the front suspension is going to be a lot of fun. Lower control arms are going to go in with those big, strong new bushings. We're going to look at installing our new coilover suspension. All the bushings that we can possibly replace, we're going to replace and get them all set up and ready for new. The big ticket item is going to be our beautiful Aston Martin Brembo brakes, along with all the pads and the big rotors that come with those. So that's going to be in this episode, and I'm really excited because I hope you are too. So let's get busy. Let's see what we can tear into. So here's our stock assembly. This is what we're going to start pulling apart tonight, right? So nothing special, completely stock shocks and springs, no modifiers of any variety. Now, I did get a little bit excited, so forgive me, but this is, I already started pulling apart this other side. By started pulling apart, I've made good progress, right? So knuckles loose, the steering shaft is loose, sway bar is loose, the brakes are off. Got all this stuff put back together. So anyway, the plan is to just pull it apart as much as we can, get everything good to go. Cannot forget, we have to do those lower control arms. Those are going to be a pain because you can look at that bolt right there, which is going to hit that transmission there, which means that we're either going to have to move the subframe or move the dog bone again. I think we're going to try dog bone. That's what some guys are having success with. So we'll give that a shot and see how it goes. But I'll update you as I make progress. All right, friends. Unfortunately, we've hit another stop. So I know we just talked about our happy lower control arm bolt here, but unfortunately with jacking the lower side of the transmission, we don't have enough freedom to get this bolt out. So the next step, unfortunately, is going to be once again removing this engine mount so we can lean the engine high enough to get to that lower control arm bolt. And then hopefully that will be the end of the trials because the tribulations are starting to get to me. But anyway, I'm going to pull this thing apart and check in with you. Guys, stoke is super high. Check this out. So there's two pieces to attach the transmission to the engine mount. If you guys remember in episode 2, I think, getting those bolts on this side of the engine mount, huge pain in the butt, really unpleasant. But I removed this piece because it goes underneath where the motor mount goes, and then it gave me enough space to go up, and then here we go, piece de resistance. Y'all ready? Here we go. Ta-da! With enough room to make it out. That is what the kids call a W. So check this out. Behold, one hella shitty lower control arm with some really ugly bushings. So those are getting replaced with brand new ones off of an RS3, which is awesome. Here's the new arm. So undoubtedly you're probably thinking to yourself, man, that looks pretty similar, but here's the big difference. So these are solid bushings. They are still rubber, right? It means they do flex. These cars really do not do good with polyurethane. They just need high durometer rubber. But doing something like this eliminates a lot of movement, especially fore and aft, like this way and that way, right? Which is super detrimental to handling and consistency, right? So this bushing can be repaired and replaced fairly easily. It doesn't have to completely chunk the arm. So like these actually don't look like they're in that bad a shape, but this is going to give us a lot more stability in the lower control arm since it's such an integral part of the strut as a whole. So I'm going to go ahead and slot these in and show you what it looks like. My God, slotting these things in absolutely sucked. As you can see, in order to get this lower control arm in, all of the assembly had to come apart, right? So the knuckle, all of the steering shaft, all of the sway bar, the axle had to come off, everything, right? These new big old bushings are so stiff that you cannot mount this arm unless it is perfectly level there and perfectly level there. And I don't know if you can see that, but there's actually not even a screw in there because it doesn't want to go home because it doesn't want to flex. That's the screw. I know exactly where it's supposed to go, but it literally does not want to do that. So anyway, I'm giving up for tonight. I went ahead and got the engine mount, the transmission mount put back into place so I don't have to leave it on the jack all night long. But man, trying night. Tomorrow we'll come back and see what we can do to get this whole thing put together and start putting on shiny bits. Or at least more shiny bits. That other control arm is going to be much easier, especially now that I have seeing how it goes on this side. Great news. I'm in a much better mood now. Things are actually coming together, and I kind of just got into a little bit of a flow and got a whole bunch of stuff all buttoned back up and taken back apart. So have a look here. So if you look and see, this is now fully installed, right? Arm is fully in. The bolt back there is good. And if you look down here, that one's in too. So this one is officially done, which means that we're actually ready to start installing the coilover. Now, but before we do that, I'm trying to do this a little bit less unilaterally like I did on the other side. So you can see that I've also made the progress of getting this whole entire side pulled apart as well. In the meantime, all the torqued bolts on top for the transmission mount, all underneath there, are finished up, and the battery tray is back in. So honestly, making fantastic progress. Anyway, pretty much all we really need to do is start test fitting the new coilovers after we get everything prepped on the spindles, and elsewise things are good. We're making fabulous progress up here. So you guys know, it always goes like this. One side gives you hell, the other side is pretty compliant because you already know what you're doing. So like I mentioned, this one's all disassembled. Pretty much all we need to do is start getting this lower control arm out, and you can see the difference in our access to that bolt right there. That one, right? A gajillion times easier. So I have a great feeling that this one will be a lot easier to get put together. I still have strong feelings about that bolt being a huge pain, but we'll tackle that as we get to it. Oh boy, time for a new shiny part. So got the lower control arm out from the last clip. 2 bolts fell right out. Fantastic. Like I said, going back in is going to be the real pain. But you want to talk about items that would like grind this build to a halt, that's like super small and it's a huge pain. It's the small details, all the other stuff, right? I'm lucky I remembered these. So this right here is the correct steering. Oh, what is the proper word for that? Steering rod that goes into spindle, steering rack ball joint. There you go. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to call this a steering rack ball joint. So this steering rack ball joint, nice, nothing wrong with it. The problem is that when we start adding additional camber to the suspension using our camber devices, we're going to run out. So you can see this is an 034 adjustable end link. Yeah, we'll call them end links. Well, it's an adjustable end link, but significantly longer, right? And they say a ½ inch doesn't matter, but to me it does.
Nice.
We're gonna thread these on, and this is another little small one to check off the list. That list right there. So you can see end links. It's like right about there-ish. Anyway, so I'm gonna throw these on and show you what it looks like. End links are on. Probably the most simple thing we've done this entire build, right? Bolted right off, bolted right back on. You can see they're quite a bit longer, and but they fit nice. There was a little bit of surface rust, so I cleaned it up with some brake clean and then added some anti-seize, and now these things are nice and smooth, right? Can't even hear it. So those are good to go. So next step is to start prepping the struts, but first we got to drop both sides. So we'll start there and see how it goes. So I like to joke that Audi is really friendly to the mechanic because they're so kind as to give you bolt holders here on the upper section of the strut tower. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Every little bolt fits in just right, and it all sits nice and flush, so you never have to get anything lost. It's like a basic, or basically it's like having a little tool or a bolt separator, which is awesome. Now, unfortunately, all this stuff has got to come off because we've actually got to get down to the strut tower here. You can see in there, if you look just close enough, there's 4 little bolts that are going to be used to pop the strut out and get it down. But it is unfortunate that we have to clean up not only this, but also the other side. And I don't know if you can tell, but I'm storing a little bit of stuff on the car. But I mean, you can't always build down, but you can always build up. So I've definitely been following that principle. This might be a good time to start working on cleaning up the front of the car, but unfortunately it's raining and it hardly does that. Oh, by the way, sorry, let me just explain this sign. You guys have probably seen it. The girlfriend's learning how to drive the Samurai, and she wanted someone to, not drive right behind her when she's at a stoplight. Anyway, but yeah, it's raining outside in Arizona, and that's just unacceptable. That's why this door is down. And so the plan is to wait until it warms up a little bit. We'll put the bumper cover on and finalize all the hardware up there, like finally redoing the horns after we had to loosen them up in order to get that bolt out over there. So anyway, one step at a time. Let me show you guys what these struts look like once they're nice and free. Also worth noting, this was the last of the part boxes. And if you see, there are very few parts left in here apart from, Cletus's car wash. But yeah, we're pretty much down to some of the last boxes here. Like these are the new studs for the new studs and new lug nuts for the front and rear, so we don't have to go to wheel bolts. But otherwise, we've got some coolant in here and a cabin air filter because mine is stanky. But man, we're running out of parts, which is super exciting. I mean, it comes with the list being towards the end, but you know, you guys saw episode 3. I got all those parts out, took that cool thumbnail. Man, yeah, there was a lot of parts in that pile, and now we're down to these. So pretty assuring. It means like we're getting closer to actually going racing. All right, gentlemen, we're in deep shit. I'm not gonna lie. And I say gentlemen also to include the probably 2 women that watch this YouTube channel, one of them being my girlfriend. Anyway, we're in deep shit. So I messed up bad. So everything was disassembled. You guys saw the last clip, so you know exactly what's going on in terms of the disassembly. I was changing a part on my brand new, very shiny, very expensive coilovers that I love so much and did the whole like Pulp Fiction thing in the last episode. And I totally snapped a ball-headed Allen in a part of the shock. I might selectively show you a picture of it so that you guys can all point and laugh to my dumbness. And before you run to the comment section and tell me, Tanner, I cannot believe you were so dumb as to put a ball Allen in anything and then spin it with any amount of torque, you're right. Understood. Totally have understood like how bad and crappy this feels. I hate to say this, but since that last clip, it's been 5 days, okay? It's been 5 days of trying to get this ball Allen out. So, I started with carbide bits, no dice. Or sorry, let me step back. I tried prying it out, no dice. I then tried carbide bits, no dice. Tried neodymium magnets, no dice. The last thing I tried, nope, I did try that too. I JB welded the part that broke back onto the part that was left inside of the hole. That didn't work either. And that was a 24-hour setup, so that didn't work out at all. The last thing that I've tried, and the only thing that's been successful so far, has been taking a Dremel with a abrasive wheel and dremeling out the broken head inside of the area where it broke. So I currently have a little bit of a divot there, but if you're thinking to yourself and going, well, Tanner, this is an easy answer. All you have to do is get a screw extractor, or you need to drill it out with a drill bit, all that other fun stuff. Let me tell you that chrome vanadium, which is what this tool is made out of, very similar to black oxide, for those of us who have tools in our toolbox, is incredibly hard. If you look at it on the Morse scale of hardness, it is almost as far right as you can go. And so what that means to us is that black and gold drill bits bounce off. Black oxide bounces off. It literally will melt before it will cut the chrome tool, right? Which just makes it a whopping pain for us. So it has been a huge pain trying to get this thing out, and unfortunately you guys are about to see where we're going to hopefully come up with some more ideas on how we can get this thing out. But like I said, the only thing that we've had any success with, and I'll kind of show the picture here, is like I said, taking a Dremel with an abrasive bit and trying to eat through it. I've tried carbide, if you were curious. My Dremel spins too fast for carbide to cut. Carbide has to be run very slowly in order to have a chance to kind of get a slice, if you know what I mean. Hopefully some machinists who watch this and understand. So, not the update I wanted to give. This really sucks. I would much rather be installing fun stuff, especially after last episode where I shot the guts of that rear caliper everywhere. If you haven't seen that, it's, last episode anyway. So that's what I got going on right now. You're about to see where we're going. So 5 points if you guessed it. Back here again. Hi, Tanner here. $80 worth of Harbor Freight tooling, drill bits, extractors, all the DeWalt hardware you could ever want or need, and the Bolt laughed at it. So we're kind of back to square one. So we're going to continue to grind with the Dremel, and I'm really sad to say it, but if we don't get this screw head out, this ball head that has lodged its way in, we may lose the shop. So keep you updated on how it goes.
Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.
So as you might have guessed, it's out. Out. Only took 5 days. Let me walk you through this. We started with one of these. Very normal, right? And then it turned into one of those. As you can see, we're missing a head here, right? Might be getting a little French. Which then, after hours and hours and hours and hours of grinding, turned into this. So this little piece broke off inside the hole, and I sat there and I ground it out from the inside all the way out until I could spin it enough for it to pop out with that big neodymium magnet it was just stuck to. Now, of the hundreds of dollars spent at Harbor Freight, I can guarantee you, of the entire build, this is my MVP. Bang for buck, this saved my ass badly. This die grinder is $10. That's it, okay? $10 die grinder, even the stock bit it came with. When I went to Harbor Freight today, I bought another one of these because I was afraid this one was going to die and I was going to run out of bits. No, who needs it? Good to go. So that being said, we're not going to lose the shop. I can now proceed with finishing up the front suspension, and then we can get on these awesome brakes. So that won't be tonight. That'll be another night. But you're going to talk to that Tanner here very shortly. Here you go. Life is good, and you actually are seeing me in sunlight, which is very rare because I typically work on the car at night. But anyway, things that I've gotten done. The coilovers have now been seated into the spindles. Obviously, you guys have already seen everything get pulled apart over here on the passenger side. The passenger side now has got now it's got its lower control arm in loose, so that's all finished up. And now this means that we're actually ready to put in the spindles, put in the coilovers, and start working on getting everything buttoned up. So obviously I'm a little bit limited. I can't show you guys the shocks, but I can show you kind of what it looks completed. I'll do some like little sensor bars like I did in the last one, but that'll be one piece at a time. The only thing that we got that's new is we got some new sway bar end links? Yeah, sway bar end links. So I found them used, got a rip and deal on them. So we're going to install some new sway bar end links and stuff like that. The only other thing that I really have to say there is that we did come up with a short list. I'm going to put it on the screen here. It'll be right about there-ish. That is everything that has to get done. Now, that seems like, a lot of small stuff, things along those lines. But we now have a deadline, which is super exciting. So this Sunday is going to be the dyno testing session, like a group dyno testing session for all the guys who are going to run UMS Time Attack here in Arizona this year. So I would really like to have the car done before then so that we can get the car dynoed. It doesn't have to be perfect. The alignment doesn't have to be completely set. Ride height and all that other stuff doesn't have to be done. It just has to run and drive enough so that we can dyno it, so that we're ready to be classed and can start to where our actual first event goal is, and I'll talk more about that later. But anyway, that's the list. We're going to start executing to it, and I'll show you guys how I get it done. Here we go. Visit 7, I think. Returning some of the items that didn't work when we were trying to get that bolt out. So anyway, 7th time at Harbor Freight. I'm traveling Tanner again to show you a completed assembly, which is so nice, right? And look, I don't even have to show sensor bars because my nice shock socks came in. So now you guys can't see nothing, but you can see that we got a nice external reservoir. Everything is fully seated in here. We've got our new end links on. I've got a brand new axle bolt. We have got our stock lower control arm bally things in here. We have got our new RS3 lower control arm right there, and everything is right with the world. And we've also got our new tie rod. So everything is done from a suspension standpoint here. Pretty much all we really need to do is duplicate this on the other side, as well as torque everything down. But we can't do that until it's all on the ground, or at least under its own weight. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this on the other side, and then from there we will start installing our brand new brakes. I'll show you guys what that looks like here shortly. Ta-da! Duplicated. Everything is the same on this side. You know what that means. That means it's time for Aston Martin brakes. But that is a job for tomorrow. And with that being said, hi future Tanner. Hi past Tanner. Anyway, guys, let's get into it. It's time to do some very exciting work. It's a new night. We got the dog in the shop. Let's have a look at these brakes. Ta-da. Now, these are Aston Martin DBS brakes from 2009. This particular Brembo design, which you can see stamped there, was fairly universal and used on a handful of platforms, particularly what they called the the HJ TTRS. That's the AJ TTRS that was built from 2013 to 2012, as well as some other remarkably interesting cars, such as the 2005 Ford GT, the GT 500 in later years, as well as actually used as the rear brake on the C6 and C7 Z06s. So what you'll notice about these, and the two big highlights to me are A, cast aluminum, so much lighter than the stock brakes. B, you'll notice it's a floating pin design, which means that pads can be swapped from the top, which is remarkably handy. And D being, or C, I suppose, being the fact that with there being so much aluminum here, the cooling capability is going to be fantastic, right? They are 4-piston calipers, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And as you can imagine, they don't just bolt right up. Now, you can actually get these to bolt straight up to an Audi hub. That can be done. Now, the problem is that if you bolt it straight to an Audi hub, it's going to expect a 370 millimeter rotor. And on this particular car, we can't fit one. Well, at least we can't fit one under our nice race wheels and tires, right? So we're trying to keep it to an 18. If we went to a 19, then we could definitely fit the 370 millimeter rotors, but I do happen to have the 345s that will fit underneath this. Now, in order to get it to fit 345s, you do have to have some adapter brackets, and thankfully, an excellent company across the pond that I cannot remember, but I'll probably, oh, there you go. What does that say? Creations Motorsport does make this adapter bracket and was so kind as to ship them across the pond for me. They came from the UK. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get our 345 millimeter rotor mounted, and then we're going to start playing around with getting the hardware put together. There is a little bit of swaps that we have to do because this was oriented in a trailing orientation on the Aston. So that meant that it was on the back side of the rotor instead of the front side of the rotor. I'll put a picture on screen so you kind of know what I'm talking about. And so what that means is this one I think is marked front right, and this one's marked front left. We're going to flip-flop that so the bleeders are on the top. That allows air to get out of the pads, get out of the calipers so that they will properly bleed. I'm told that is a huge pain if you don't get that right. So we're going to do that. We're going to get the rotor put together. We're going to pull off these springs and pull out these old pads because we have replacements. And I also have a brand new set of braided and stainless brake lines. So I'm going to go ahead and start installing these. I'll show you guys what this rotor looks like. Alrighty, so here's our rotor. These things are large. There's my hand as a comparison, right? My hand doesn't even get to the pad surface. These things are massive. Now, I know everyone was like, 345, right? If it's a 370, run at 370. I would like to, but I'm going to tell you for right now, 345 on a fairly light car such as this. The Audi, when it's all said and done, hopefully is going to scale somewhere in the ballpark of 3,100 to 3,200 pounds. And eventually when it's on a full race weight diet, we'll hopefully get below 3K. This is going to be more than plenty, especially if down the road I go to a floating caliper setup, a floating rotor setup. These are cast, vented and slotted rotors, so they are not completely ideal, but these are going to be plenty fine for the racing that we have to do, and it'll be good to chew through these things. If you couldn't understand what I was getting at with the floating pin design, now you can see, right, these two pins go right here, right, holding this spring down, which then retains the two pads. So pins are out. I need to clean those up. They've got a little bit of surface corrosion on them, but the pads are out. We're going to redo this wiring harness. This is no longer applicable for us. We have different pad sensors, so we're going to pull it off, clean it up, and then we're actually going to leave everything out of them so that we can install them and reinstall them easily. We'll do pads once everything is completely seated and ready to go. I have a test fit for you, and man, I think that looks pretty good. Aston Martin, yeah. How about that? So 345 rotors on the adapter bracket, right? Let's see if I can get you guys some light here. Oh, there we go. Sorry. So on the adapter bracket, right there, you can see the little piece of black. Mounts up pretty beautifully. We already threw a pad in it just to make sure everything fits. It's all where it needs to be. So it's time to get the torque out and start getting this thing all clicked up. I've also got the new stainless brake line loosely in there, as well as where it's supposed to go. So that's going to go there. We're going to work on through it, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Done. Alrighty. So we got everything torqued. Everything is back to where it's supposed to be. We got our line swapped. We got We got everything plugged in and tightened back up, made a huge mess with brake fluid everywhere. We got that cleaned up, tools cleaned and everything along those lines. But these brakes are done. And you know what that means? It means that we have officially pretty much reached the end of phase 2. And so now we get to actually chase the close up, the finalization of all the stuff that we pulled apart. I can't tell you how excited I am. So we're currently on track to make our big deadline, which is this Saturday. It's going to be our dyno day to make sure this thing makes the horsepower that we think it's going to make. So in the next episode, here's what you're going to see. Bumper cover is going to go back on. Frame horns are going to be finally tightened up. Intakes are going back in. Turbo inlet pipes. All that fun stuff. All the small button-up items that are going to get this thing back to 100%. That's going to get done. I might even take those and put them back on, instead of just leaving them on the car, along with all the other boxes that I've been too lazy to move. Anyway, these things are so exciting, and I'm sure you guys are going to love seeing the dyno day. So if you are excited, make sure you follow and subscribe to the Low Altitude Motorsports YouTube channel. If you haven't watched any of the previous episodes in the series, I highly recommend you do. The playlist is hopefully attached or somewhere down below or somewhere at the channel. You can find a playlist, I'm sure. But yeah, stick around for that. If you have any thoughts, have any comments, you want to see something interesting or something different, feel free to let me know. Leave a like if you enjoyed the video. And as always, we'll see you guys next time. Thanks.